Hello all, back again for another episode of Estate Planning Weekly. Today we're talking about what the disadvantages are of putting assets into a trust, specifically a revocable living trust. This question comes from Aaron, who left a comment on YouTube on one of my recent videos, and I thought that I would share this answer with everyone rather than just putting it in the comments. This is episode 44 of Estate Planning Weekly, and I'm your host, Don Rolfe, the owner and founder of Northwest Legal Planning, an estate planning and probate law firm located in West Linn, Oregon. So, what are the disadvantages to putting your assets into a revocable living trust? To tell you the truth, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any. A revocable living trust is an entity that you set up that is essentially just you. You have absolute control over everything that goes into and out of that revocable living trust while you still have capacity. So, if you put an asset into the revocable living trust, you can take that asset back out and just put it in your own personal name again if you so choose. You can revoke, hence the name Revocable Living Trust, in your trust in its entirety and make it go away and put all of those assets back into your own name. Now, while there are not disadvantages to having the assets in a revocable living trust, there are some downsides to actually getting those assets into your revocable living trust. They're not huge things, but there are a couple of hiccups that can happen. For instance, savings and checking accounts that you have at the big national banks, oftentimes when you want to retitle those into your revocable living trust, they're going to make you close the account that you have and open up a new account, which would mean you have to get new checks, set up your bill pays again, and those sorts of things. But that's a great opportunity for you to maybe reevaluate the relationship that you have with the bank and maybe find one that might treat you more as a person rather than a number. Not that banks are inherently evil or bad, or that there's bad banks out there or anything like that. It's just sometimes, it's time to reevaluate and find somewhere where you can be treated as an individual, where they would be happy to do things like changing the title on your account without making you jump through all the hoops of getting new checks and reestablishing all of your bill pays and automatic withdrawals and all of those sorts of things. And that really is the disadvantage, I guess, to putting assets in that I can come up with. There could be some issues with insurance and mortgages and those sorts of things when putting houses in, but we can overcome all of those. If you, like Aaron, have questions about estate planning, you can ask them of me, like he did in the comments, or you can talk to me absolutely free for a half hour for an estate planning strategy session and you can schedule that by going to myestateplanmeeting.com and putting yourself right on my calendar, either for a telephone or in-person consultation. I prefer in-person. And during that consultation, I can answer your questions and also talk to you about your estate planning options. So again, there really aren't a lot of disadvantages that I can come up with, or any really, of putting your assets into a revocable living trust, because you can always take them out. And then while you have capacity, and then if you become incapacitated, that is the time where the revocable living trust shines, because if those assets are in your trust, your successor trustee can step in and start managing those assets without having to rely upon a durable power of attorney, which, as I've said before, a bank or other institution could always refuse to accept that durable power of attorney for any number of reasons. There's absolutely nothing that requires them to accept those documents. And if that's the case, it could require court intervention and appointment of a conservator and a guardian over you while you're incapacitated in order for them to access your accounts. So again, if you have any questions about this or any other estate planning topic, do go to myestateplanmeeting.com and schedule a half-hour complimentary estate planning strategy session with me. I will answer your questions and talk to you about your estate planning options, either working with me or with another attorney. So until next time, folks, take care. Talk to you then. Bye.